Today's video, we're going to talk about how to get around IP address exclusions / limits on Google Ads, Bing / Microsoft Ads, as well as on Facebook. Which technically on Facebook you can't exclude IP addresses, but I'm going to talk about a way to exclude IP addresses anyway with a workaround method. That is, if you just basically want to exclude certain people from getting to see your ads, there's a way to still do that. Talk about it in today's video and give you the information you need. Now, also talk about, by the way, why you would want to do this in general. Just the short version of that is you want to get rid of click fraud and bots, which are two separate things. Click fraud is done, people, your competitors are using software or something to click on your ads to drain your ad budget. Bots are just that. I mean, it's bots that go around the web that click your ads, which a lot of people are clicking your ads so they can make more advertising revenue on their channels or websites. And you want to get rid of people and certain IP addresses that way, also certain websites. But that's not the only way to get rid of click fraud. I'll talk a bit more about click fraud as well, but the main thing is there's limits if you want to exclude certain people from your ad accounts, which makes it a problem to get rid of these competitors, get rid of these bots effectively. I'll tell you the workaround method here. Before I do, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, a online advertising agency that guarantees results for their clients. That is, we do not take a management fee until you get a certain lift in profitability from your ads or a certain minimum level of profitability from your ads up front. If we agree to take you on as a client, we're able to do this because I have 20 years of ad experience to get the results that we're getting for clients and to guarantee the results, and I'm the lead strategy at the firm. So with that said, getting into the meat of the content here. Depending on what platform you're on will change what you can do as far as so-called IP address exclusions on these platforms. Most people exclude IP addresses because they want to exclude people, like competitors clicking on their ads. And they'll typically, though, do this through using a click fraud software like ClickCease. ClickCease is the most popular one. What it will do is try to figure out which of the people clicking on your ads are fraud. And then with that, it'll send automatically that person and their IP address to Google, to Microsoft, which it's not automatically through Microsoft, but to Google, so that it can tell Google, hey, I don't want the ad to show up for this person in the future. So that at least if a competitor is clicking the ad, they're only going to be able to do it once. And the default function that we will set up with the ClickCease account to get the most out of it generally is they can only click on the ad once. Once they click on an ad once, that IP address is automatically added to the list and they cannot click our ad in the future. That's all said, all great and everything, but on Google, you can only add 500 IP addresses. So what has to happen is once you get 500 visits to the site, somebody's gonna have to be removed to add the next guy in line. And that's okay because generally speaking, it'll make sure that, obviously depending on how much traffic you have, if a competitor clicks your ad, they're not gonna be able to see your ad for a while, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. Then they can click your ad again, but there's so much delay in time from the time that they initially click to the time they can click again, it effectively, the 500 IP address exclusion isn't really going to affect you. On Bing, by the way, ClickCease and these click fraud monitoring softwares don't automatically update Bing in real time. Not only that, but Bing only has 100 IP address exclusion list. So as soon as you've used the method I recommended to you just now to get rid of click fraud as best as you can using these softwares, that is, every single user who clicks your ad isn't allowed to see the ad again. Once you hit 100 visitors to your site, you got to take somebody off. Is a major issue if you're going to use that strategy that you can only add 100 IP addresses and that's it. Naturally, there's limitations there. I'm going to tell you what the workaround method is so that you can add technically more than 100 and get the job done if you feel that you need it, okay? On Facebook, if you have people clicking your ads that you want to block, okay, then what happens? There's no IP address that you can upload to Facebook ads to block people at an individual level. You can then add audience exclusion. So you add them to an audience that you add as a negative audience to your campaign so that anybody who's on that audience cannot see your ad in the future. That's how you deal with it there on and through Facebook. Okay, what we've been doing before for a while, before I understood this workaround method, on Microsoft, we would actually have it to where if somebody clicks the ad twice, their IP would be added to the exclusion list on Bing. That way, the IP address would be excluded for a lot longer than, let's say, 1 day, because we have 100 plus visits a day to the site from our ad campaign. Basically, if somebody clicks the ad, because usually when somebody does click fraud against you, that is your competitors, they're not clicking the ad manually. That's like old school. What they're doing now is using software to click your ads, and they'll have different proxies click through your ads. They'll use a software to do that. TrafficBotPro is one software that people use to do this. With that, if you had 100 IP addresses, you could click the ad, then the ad won't show for that person, but that's fine because they can go to the next IP address, next IP, and naturally when it gets to the end of the list, since Bing only will let you block 100 IP addresses, then they can use the first IP address to click your ad again, and so forth, which is why typically we had the list set up so if they click the ad twice, that they would go on the exclusion list, so they couldn't necessarily do that. In order to block these people using software, which, by the way, just to let you know up front, this is way more common than you think. Literally, and it's gotten worse and worse over the years, literally in any kind of like local service market or B2B services, if you have moderate to heavy competition in that space and a click costs more than $5-10, there's a 50+% chance that you have competitors, at least one of them, going to be doing click fraud in your market and clicking on your ads to drain your budget. Why? Because it's an extremely effective way to make more money. All they got to do is drain your budget, which means their ad's going to get clicked more that day, because once your daily budget's exhausted, your ad won't show anymore that day. Not only that, they do it to you day after day. Eventually you're going to give up. There's less competitors. The less competitors there are in your space for the customers that you want, the less the cost per click is going to be, because it's still a bidding system regardless of what platform you're basically on, and they're paying less for a lead and a customer as a result of getting rid of you. And if they do it to every other person in your space, now instead of 10 competitors, there's 3. And now a lead, instead of costing $100, it costs 30. Because it's so easy to do, all you got to do is load up a software with some proxies. Anybody could do this. Google's basically stuck their head in the sand over this. They could do more, but it doesn't help them to do anything about it, frankly. The problem exists. I can tell you that firsthand. So sorry, Google, but this is the reality. Same thing with Microsoft/Bing. Google, I will admit, does a lot more to block click fraud than Bing does, way more. It's still not very good at all. And a lot of people who don't know anything about click fraud, just regular Joe Schmo business owners, are getting handed to them through the click fraud. A large cost per click dictate whether you get click fraud or not, because it's easier to do the less clicks you have to have, because you have to have unique proxies in order that you rotate through in order for the click fraud to work. When you're talking about e-commerce where it's $1 per click, you might have to have 5,000 proxies to do that effectively. Whereas for a local service where the cost per click is $30 a click, you only need like 20. Frankly, and you could already do it. Just to let you know up front where it's likely to be a problem for you, at least now you know. For e-commerce players, the click fraud does happen, it's just way less. Unfortunately, with e-commerce, the method of just blocking anybody who comes to the site through your ad once to not be able to see your ad in the future ever again, because a lot of times people are going to click through your ad more than once before they buy. You actively have to look at people who have clicked your ad and been on your site for less than 10 seconds, that's the IP you're going to block, and you go that way with it, generally speaking, for e-commerce. But that in and itself isn't also a very good tool, because these softwares also have systems set up to get to your site, mouse around for more than 30 seconds to fool you, if you will, and it gets a lot harder to block an e-commerce click fraud attempt. And you're going to end up having to sacrifice some of your sales, because you really will have to block people from not being able to see your ad more than once in order to block it, if you will. I'm getting a bit off track here. You want to, regardless of how you're why you're blocking people from your site that you want to block and through using IP addresses, the way that you get past the limit of only being able to add 500 people or 100 people with Bing is you use audience bid adjustment. That is, you create an audience inside your Google Ads account. You say, basically all the people on this list are people that I want on this audience list. Then you've got something that you can then block. You can do this. Click fraud software are now doing this. ClickCease is now doing this. With that, you have that audience, and then under the audience menu in your campaigns, you can do a 90% negative bid adjustment on that audience. So effectively, if they're on that audience, you won't bid high enough to have your ad show up for them. So there's no way to outright block them. But the other problem with this, by the way, unfortunately, is if you use bid adjustments with smart bidding, you're using maximize conversion value bidding strategy. Google pretty much ignores those bid adjustments for the most part anyway nowadays. You have to use manual bidding in order to block them, and that may not be something you want to do, given that smart bidding usually gets more results than manual bidding over the long run. It does. But that is your workaround to get to where you can add more than 500 IP addresses to Google. You will generally do better by using the method I talked about before, where somebody has to click the ad twice before they get on the list, sacrificing using smart bidding to get to where you can then add this audience and exclude the audience effectively from your campaigns. But now you have another option available to you. And then same thing applies technically with Facebook. If you're e-commerce, I wouldn't recommend not having your ad allowed to be showed to somebody if they click the ad once, because most people who buy your products aren't going to buy on the first visit. They honestly aren't. So you got to be able to set up the filtering a lot more liberally. That is, they have to click the ad twice before they're on the exclusion list already, or even 3 times. But if your click fraud problem is bad enough and you're not making money, then you have to block them even if they click the ad once, and it would be helpful for them to see the ad more than once. You're still stuck with blocking every single person who's clicked on the ad only one time already. If you have any questions about this or click fraud or getting rid of bots, you can, by the way, reach out to me at my site at guaranteedppc.com. I know more than 99.9% about dealing with click fraud issues and bots because I was forced to, over the last 10 years, learn to deal with it because we offer a guaranteed service at our firm. We can't get results for a client or keep them around. The bots or the competitor click fraud software takes over. It literally, once you have a problem with it, it will make it impossible to make money. You got to know how to deal with it. We just got a checklist of things that we can do. Drastic, not so drastic. You try to start with the stuff that's not so drastic. And if that doesn't work, you keep going down the list. We can always fix the click fraud problem. And I don't share the best of the best information because if I did, the guys doing click fraud, because everybody's doing my technique, would get around the technique. So it's to nobody's advantage for me to share it because it would just become obsolete. And then we wouldn't have any way to fix the problem, which, by the way, the reality behind it is the people doing click fraud, they know so few people even know about click fraud. They don't have to work that hard to click fraud you. So therefore, it leaves an opening to fight the click fraud. Whereas if everybody suddenly started getting super sophisticated about blocking click fraud, they would work harder. Anyway, if you wanted to know for sure what to do, reach out to me. If you're questioning it, you don't know if you have click fraud issues or bot issues, you can let me know as well and we can get it fixed. And along with that, by the way, if you want to know how to get results in your space, we have ad templates that work for 100+ different niche markets. If we've already got the results you're looking for in your niche market, you should buy the template that we have for your niche market already that we've already put together when working with a client in your niche in a different city or country. That is, we have the ad templates, landing page templates, campaign templates that you literally can copy paste into your account and get the same results we were getting or currently getting. We can tell you the cost per lead, ROI, all of it that we're getting up front, so you would know exactly what you're going to get from it. We've got people that use these templates to start whole other businesses. They're so good. If you want to get into e-commerce and didn't know anything about it, sell a mattress in a country that our client isn't in, using the same template we use to sell it in country A and sell it in country B, you have a turnkey business effective. Or printer toner, or the number of other things that we have that are commodity items you could technically get from China on your own. We got people that do lead generation businesses where they take our templates to get leads, then sell the leads to people in those spaces, which is a great passive income business idea, by the way. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it and let you know what we have available there in terms of niches, templates, results, all of that. Getting back to what I was saying here, I just want to say that if you have an issue also with click fraud, you got to take it seriously. And if you're not profitable, there's a good chance that you do have an issue, and that's actually what's stopping you in terms of being profitable with your ads nowadays. You also, other than contacting me at my site or at my firm site, you can also obviously leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. I have many other videos about click fraud on this channel as well, where I go into detail on what you can do. Whereas I may not share everything. There's a lot to be learned there, especially when using ClickSees and all that. You can watch my other videos and learn a lot more, as well as how to actually set up the ads to make millions of dollars a year in your business. The actual strategy that it takes to beat your competitors, which is what it takes anymore to make money with running online ads for your business. You got to be able to make more from the ad space than your competitors to actually expect it to make money for you. So if you're serious about making money with your ads and making millions of dollars a year, knowing how to run ads for yourself in your niche market, subscribe to this channel. There's no better information than you're going to find than on this channel about how to actually do that exact thing. And I know because I look around and I see what else is out there. Most of the information is given to you by shysters who are trying to sell courses who don't run ads, or they run a couple ads. They don't really know what's going on. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, you want to pay attention to the information on this channel at least first. You should also check out my blog. My blog has literal step-by-step instructions on how to deploy the strategies we're using to guarantee results for our clients at our firm, with the screenshots, with everything you need to use them. So if you like the channel, you should definitely check the blog out as well. To go with this though, to sum this up, the IP exclusion list, okay, that is not the only way to fight click fraud, but it's a great start. And you should take advantage of the IP exclusion list that these platforms have to try to get a first layer protection against click fraud / bots, which it's mostly going to protect you against click fraud. That is, if you have crude click fraud attempts being placed against you, that is, your competitors sitting in their office doing it themselves, they're not using software and they're not investing into more advanced methods where they're using botnets or something like that, which if there's big money in your space, that could very well be happening, and you have to do more than just using the click fraud software. Some cases, the click fraud software will really clean it up, and at the very least, you should be doing that first if you're serious about getting it cleaned up. Then if that doesn't work, you can take the more drastic methods or actions. Use the information that I give you about click fraud on my other videos on my channel, which you can search for those videos on my channel homepage, or you can reach out or ask me in the comment section what to do. And then the audience exclusion, same thing on Facebook, getting rid of the people that are bots. It can't hurt. It may not do what you need it to do to make your ads profitable, but at least it can potentially help you get you back on track. There are bots on Facebook, not a lot, which is what makes Facebook ads work so well. It can be helpful there as well. With that said, I'll wrap it up with that. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said click fraud was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.